You know the drill. You spend weeks researching the perfect way to eat, buying organic this and keto that, only to have life happen. One late-night takeout order, one snag at work, and suddenly the guilt bomb drops. What if I told you that your pursuit of perfection is the very obstacle standing between you and real, lasting health? Imagine trying to build a towering wall of marble blocks. One slip, one misaligned stone, and the whole thing comes crashing down. That's what chasing flawless habits feels like. Your standards aren't too high, they're too fragile.
Perfectionism may seem like a badge of honor. After all, who doesn't want to do things flawlessly? But studies from the University of Toronto tell a different story. People who hold themselves to impossible health standards often end up with higher cardiovascular risk than those who aim for good enough. Chronic stress, self-criticism, and that nagging voice of "you must do better" keep cortisol elevated, sometimes 37% longer than in folks who embrace a more moderate approach. In effect, your pledge to never slip up becomes a stress machine, quietly undermining the very health you're trying to build.
Here's the paradox. Nature doesn't thrive on precision. A rainforest weathers storms, floods, and fires not because each tree stands perfectly upright, but because the entire ecosystem bends, adapts, and regrows. In our quest to micromanage every calorie, every workout, we forget that resilience emerges from small, flexible threads, not rigid towers of marble. Aristotle put it centuries ago, the virtuous path lies between excess and deficiency, not at the extreme ends. In other words, health isn't a destination you reach by ticking every box, it's the balanced dance between effort and ease.
So, what's really going on under the surface? Let's talk about friction, that invisible weight adding drag to every single decision. Neuroscientists at MIT discovered something fascinating. Making one perfect choice can drain neural resources equal to 3 automatic actions. Every moment you agonize over whether to cook that kale salad or scrub potatoes costs you precious mental energy. By the end of the day, you're so depleted that you might as well surrender to the nearest fast food drive-thru. Think about Clara, a corporate lawyer I recently spoke with. She spent 9 hours a week meticulously planning her workouts, researching the latest fitness trends. But, she told me, she actually spent just 20 minutes moving her body. 9 hours of mental gymnastics to avoid the tiniest slip-up, and in the end, only 20 minutes of real action. Does that sound familiar? The cognitive load of perfection sucks the momentum right out of us.
Now, pause and ask, what if we reframed the way we approach health, not as a grand overhaul, but as a series of micro-restorations? Instead of exercise 30 minutes a day, what if we simply open a window, take 3 deep breaths, and call that a vascular reset? What if eat vegetables meant just adding 1 fist-sized portion to any meal you're already having? University College London found that 11 minutes of daily physical activity, just 11 minutes, cuts the risk of premature death by 25%. Those micro-actions send the same biological signals as a grand workout session, because the body, even in its complexity, responds to consistency, not perfection. It doesn't care if you're running marathons, it cares that you keep the blood moving, keep your cells talking, keep stress hormones from settling in like unwelcome guests. Let me give you an example. Imagine your body as a series of overlapping spider webs. Each tiny strand might seem insignificant, but together they form a structure strong enough to catch morning dew, even in a storm. When you focus on one little thread, say stretching at your desk for just 60 seconds, you're not building a castle overnight. You're weaving one more thread into your web of health. Over time, those threads accumulate, and suddenly you have something resilient. Contrast that with the idea of stacking marble blocks. If you place each block perfectly, you feel invincible until you don't. One missing block or slight misalignment and the whole thing collapses. That collapse breeds guilt, shame, and a deeper sense of failure, and that's how we end up on the couch, ice cream carton in hand, vowing to start over again on Monday. Monday never comes.
Or if it does, it comes with the same impossible checklist.
Here's the good news. You don't have to chase perfection to build strength. In fact, the opposite is true. Embracing small, adaptable actions will not only reduce stress, but also set you up for long-term success. Start by noticing one friction point in your day. Maybe you detest getting up early to work out, so you tell yourself you'll do it at night. But at night, you're exhausted, your decisions are shot, and you hit snooze on your own plan. Instead of that, try something so small it feels laughable. 3 minutes of gentle stretches before brushing your teeth. That's it. No judgment, no one more set, just 3 breaths, 3 stretches, and you're done. That tiny choice registers in your brain, I can move today. It lowers cortisol a bit, it builds momentum, and next time it might be 5 stretches, then maybe 10 steps while waiting for your coffee to brew. Before you know it, those spiderweb threads are thickening.
And here's the kicker. You need to replace judgment with curiosity. When you slip up, and you will, ask yourself, what was happening just before that? What was I feeling? What could I try next time? Curiosity turns failure into feedback. It opens a doorway instead of kicking it shut. When Clara finally shifted her mindset from, I'm a failure because I didn't do a perfect workout, to, what was stopping me today? She began noticing patterns. Late-night emails, a skipped breakfast, a skipped morning stretch. Armed with that awareness, she made one tiny tweak. She started setting her phone to grayscale at 9 p.m. That simple change removed the late-night temptation to doom scroll, and she automatically went to bed 30 minutes earlier. Suddenly, morning wasn't a battlefield. She rolled out of bed, stretched for a minute, and by the time she brewed coffee, she was already awake. No guilt, no marathon session, just a small, flexible step. Now, let's circle back. Why does this matter? Because health isn't about monument building. It's about connection, how your habits, your thoughts, and your environment talk to each other. When you chase perfection, you isolate yourself in a tiny searchlight glaring on mistakes. But when you embrace micro-restorations, you widen your field of vision. You see possibilities. A lunchtime walk, a 5-minute mindfulness break, a simple swap of water for soda. Those choices echo throughout your day, lowering stress, improving sleep, bolstering mood, and eventually nudging your blood pressure, blood sugar, and heart health in the right direction.
Remember, Aristotle didn't call it the extreme mean. He called it the golden mean, because balance is neither low nor high. It's where life actually happens. And Nassim Taleb taught us about anti-fragility, systems that grow stronger under stress. When you let go of fragile ideals, you create a body and mind that adapt to life's storms. You emerge stronger, more capable, more alive. So what are your key takeaways? First, perfectionism often begets chronic stress. Your standards don't make you healthier, they make you anxious. Second, micro-restoration actions, tiny, almost trivial moments of movement or mindful pause, build momentum and resilience. 11 minutes of activity matters more than an all-or-nothing gym session. Third, replace judgment with curiosity. Observe one friction point in your routine without blame. That awareness alone already begins to lower cortisol. Before we wrap up, I want you to hold one question in your mind this week. Where in your day can you notice a single, tiny friction point? Something that feels like a snag or a barrier. Don't set out to fix it, just notice it. Like a scientist peering through a microscope, let observation be the first step. That alone will shift your internal climate. Health isn't a cathedral you build in a day. It's not a flawless sculpture you chisel in private. It's more like a complex ecosystem of spiderwebs. Every little thread matters. Each minor connection you make, each small breath you take, weaves greater resilience. So instead of demanding perfection, ask yourself, what small, gentle step can I take right now? Because in the end, perfection demands a masterpiece. Life only asks for presence.